Hi all, this is Jace, and welcome to What I Read, plus short reviews. What did I think of the book from last week? If you watched the snippet of What I Read from Monday, you will notice that there are 4 books. I forgot about a 5th book. So there are 5 books in What I Read last week, plus reviews. And I'll explain why I forgot that book. So the first book that I read last week was called There Are No Saints. It is a duet. There are 2 books in the series. And if you don't know the plot, that's fine. It was weirdly, I was very intrigued by that book. I found the kind of world that they existed in the world of serial killers and stuff, very intriguing. I found the male main character and his antagonist kind of fascinating in terms of their dynamic. In terms of the actual couple, it's weird. He becomes obsessed with her. He manipulates everything around her so that she's basically under his spell and controlled by him, and she fights, and there are a lot of problems with that in their relationship, but I found the story really interesting, and I was mad about that. So there we go. I might have to read the second one. The second book that I read last week is called Merged with Him. Yeah, I have to look at this. This was almost a forgettable book. So it popped up on my recommendations as a romantic suspense, which I thought might be better than Verity, because that was not a book that I enjoyed. And really, this book was not terribly suspenseful. I'm viewing dark romance as more like the couple itself is dark, and in Merged with Him, the couple is fine. He's obsessed with her, but their relationship is very oh my god, I love you so much, I'm so passionate, let's get married and live together forever. And it's just the circumstances around. She gets kidnapped by someone who's obsessed with him and almost murdered. So yeah, the scenario is dark, but I don't really consider it a dark romance because their actual relationship isn't dark. It's a little obsessive, it's a little problematic, but not necessarily something that I would pour a bunch of black paint onto. The third book that I read is the one that I completely forgot about. It's called Promises and Pomegranates. It is the first book in this series. It's after the novella Sweet Sin, which I read a few weeks ago, and I had read it before. I just totally forgot everything about it because I didn't like it. I find the relationship really problematic, and it's not okay with me. So they engage in a lot of kink, but they don't label it as such. They don't talk about their play. They don't talk about limits. They don't talk about consent. They don't talk about safe words or anything in that nature. And the stuff that they do, you really should talk about safe words. There is blood play. There is cutting. There is lots of stuff that you probably should be able to say no to, or warn your partner that you're doing, make sure it's okay with them. So I don't appreciate that. Even after the fact, she was oh my god, I love that your initial is carved into my thigh. Okay, fine, but you should have asked. I don't think that's realistic. I don't think that's a healthy relationship. And that's kind of the thing that I want to talk about with you all is okay, are you using these kind of stories as fantasy, or are you using these as stuff to base your actual play on? Because y'all, we got to talk about that. Cool. Next was The Ritual. And I'm looking at the cover. Y'all, here's my secret shame. I really enjoyed reading this book. I don't know why, but the secret society situation, I was able to suspend my disbelief so completely that I was sure, they have chosens, women that just swear their undying vagina to them for a year, whatever they want, they get. I don't know why that totally did not faze me whatsoever. And so there's this weird dynamic in this book of consent but not real consent. Women are just sure, whatever you want you can do with me, and that's not really how it works. You really do need to put limits. And speaking of that, I was so mad because the male main character talks about sex in such a positive way and talks about kink in such a positive way. The female main character, she talks about having forced sex fantasies. Those are the words that she uses in terms of play. I usually call that CNC, consensual non-consent. But she talks about having forced sex fantasies and having an ex really tell her that's wrong. And the male main character's no, not wrong, whatever. How about I help you role play that? And I'm wow, that's so wonderful. And you want to give that to your partner. They've expressed this interest and you're just sure, babe, whatever, let me satisfy you. Except when he asks her about her limits, she's I don't have any. Not okay. That is a red flag. Not having limits is a red flag. You should have limits. You should Even if it's like, I don't know if I don't like caning because I've never done it. Maybe we should take it slow. You should have limits. That is how you, if you are topping someone, if you are the dominant, if you are like the sadist in a relationship, that is the way that you know you can trust the person you're playing with to say no, to stop you, to like be honest with you about what's going on in their body, in their mind. If you don't have limits, that is a red flag. Whew, yeah. But I really did enjoy this book. Their relationship is problematic. Their marriage is toxic. I don't actually understand how they last, but yeah, I was kind of okay with it. All right. So, last book that I read is called Den of Vipers. This is kind of why choose or reverse harem. I'm not sure how you would describe it. If you've read this and you have a preference for like reverse harem versus why choose, let me know. It is 1 female, 4 males, which like in my opinion is a great ratio in terms of like satisfaction and ability. And like the 4 guys have really different dynamics and really different wants and needs and styles in the bedroom, so like that was really fun. But the fucking relationship is problematic. It starts with them kidnapping her. Again, dark romance needs to have a kidnapping story is what I'm learning. It's not really a dark romance. It can't be in that dark genre unless someone's getting kidnapped, and this girl gets kidnapped like twice. Once by the actual male main characters. She's like sold off as a debt from her dad. Don't understand how that works. And then she's kidnapped by their enemies. She actually grows as a human and like comes to some realizations about her own power and blah, 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 blah. And like, yeah, they let her go and she goes back to them. So I guess like it's kind of consensual. I don't really understand that, but like Stockholm Syndrome is a thing. But this book goes long. So fucking long. One of the things that I will say is for Den of Vipers, The Ritual, and There Are No Saints, I found that the writing was really good, really descriptive, really enjoyable to read. And so those 3 books, I get it. Like, they are fun reads. The authors are clearly very talented. There's descriptive sex. There's inventive sex. There's a lot of fun to be had. I get it. Like I was saying about The Ritual, it's really about like how are we taking what we're reading here and putting it into practice. So if that's something that you all are doing, I want to engage with you. I want to know how you're doing it. I want to know how you're taking these scenes and these scenarios and putting them into the real world. How are you taking the learnings, the desires, the like, ooh, that sounds kind of sexy to me from these books, and putting them into a safe scenario in the real world. So we are 8 books into December, y'all. 8 books in. 5, yeah. 8 dark books so far. Send my sanity some love and respect. And I'll see you next week.